It's been an incredible journey, one that myself and the team have been most privileged to have worked with Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. It started on the 7th of October. None of us ever thought a day will come when Dr. Oby says, you know what, guys, I'm going to do this. But it gets to a point when your personal convenience has to be sacrificed for a greater cause. And the greater cause that Dr. Oby did take on was to fight, as she has always done, for Nigeria. It has come at a great cost, a great experience, a great lesson, a lot of sacrifices, but it is one that I can authoritatively say she will do again for Nigeria, because she has always led a sacrificial life. And this, like every other thing she has done, is just the same. She strongly believes that Nigeria is worth fighting for. And even as we come to the closure of the campaign officially, one thing we all do know for sure is that Dr. Oby Ezekwesili would not stop fighting for Nigeria. We must, of course, acknowledge the people who have walked this journey with her. Many of them in this room today, people who believe in her vision that Nigeria and Nigerians can be better than what we currently have. When she issued the red card to the Siamese twins of APC-PDP, many wondered at what courage this woman had. But she's been fearless from birth. She remains fearless till tomorrow. And I know that her quitting the presidential race will give a bit of comfort to the Siamese twins. But what they do not know is that she's quitting the presidential race, but she is not quitting the fight for Nigeria. She will not stop fighting. She will ensure that citizens get the right that they deserve. She will ensure that the political class is rooted out of office. She will ensure that we have a new vision for the country. Today, we witness, as she did when she announced she was stepping down from the presidential race, a woman who has placed the vision over ambition. She has put the cause of Nigeria over any other interest, and to come out to say, guys, we need to have a coalition. We need to come together and forge a formidable force that can change the political landscape of our country. The woman who we're here gathered for today, history will ever be glad. History will ever be gracious. For she has fought a battle 1,000 men would never have fought. She has run the race 1,000 men would never have run. She has fought the fight 1,000 men fear to fight. As we begin this event, I want to thank everyone who is here and all those who are watching us on all social media platforms and all those who have invested in this journey and invested in Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. It is not a waste. It was never a waste. It was never a waste. Girl child everywhere in this country would know that all they have to do is stand up and be different. All they have to look at is the history of Dr. Oby Ezekwesili to know that all you need to fear is nothing, and all you need to do is what is good for the greater good. Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, we salute your courage. We salute your strength. We salute your brilliance. We salute your commitment to our great nation. Nigeria is fortunate to have you, even though very undeserving of you, but fortunate nonetheless. And me and the team and a lot of Nigerians are so glad that in our generation, you graced our path. I will call on Karen Hapok to give us the national anthem. Good morning, everyone.
Compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. O God of creation, direct our noble cause. Guide our leaders right. Help our youth the truth to know. In love and honesty to grow and live in just and true. Great lofty heights attain to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Thank you.
To build a nation where justice and peace shall reign. We say that every day, but yet we forget to act it. And that was the reason why Dr. Oby Ezekwesili decided that she must ensure that the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. And she threw her headgear into the race. Today's press conference is not about you and I. It's about the little child at Mararaba Market who said to us during our campaign trail that all he wants is education for himself and his brother. Today is not about you and I who are privileged in Nigeria to be educated. It's about those who are out there, who are crying, who are yearning every day for that simple thing we take for granted, education. Dr. Oby Ezekwesili came out and decided enough is enough. It's very easy to stay by the corner. It's very easy to look away. It would have been easy for her to look away and not be bothered. But she decided she had to be the single parent of Nigeria and stand for Nigeria and fight for Nigeria and never give up on Nigeria. Even when Nigeria came at her, even when it came at her viciously, she said, no, I'm doing this for the people of Nigeria. Many a time, we look at that mother who is always showing that tough love, who will be there for her children all the time. And most times, you know what? The kids don't like her. They prefer the mother or the parent that allows them to do everything that they want, to not be bothered. They love such parents, but at the end of the day, they grow up and they realize that the tough love was the real love. We are here today. We are all here today. Where is the peace and where is the justice in this nation? We are all here today. Where is the peace? Where is the justice? A nation where a child of less than 10 will come and say to you, all I want is education. It's a nation that has failed. Maila Aminu Kano said, Nigeria will know no peace until the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. Today we have a Nigeria that is for a few. And she decided that was not right. You know, on this journey, it's been a journey. And for those who think that this is the end of the journey, I'm saying to you all, no way. We are not for turning. Nigeria is worth fighting for. And whatever it is that Nigeria throws at us, we'll take it on and we'll fight for Nigeria. Because we all yearn and we all would have wished that there were people who fought for us before we came to this nation. And that yearning that we have, those are dreams that we had, that anger that nobody fought for Nigeria before we came. We must ensure that the next generation never has that. We never feel those pain and those anger. A country where if you're poor, you're faceless, you're nameless, you're voiceless, it's not a country that anyone would want to be in. Today we look away because we think the problem of one certain part of the nation is not our problem. Or the problem of one certain gender is not our problem. This is a woman who stood and said that injustice to anyone, anywhere is injustice to everyone, everywhere. So as I speak today, today is not about us. It's about the children out there who are yearning for Nigeria, that they too can become somebody. The greatest injustice in Nigeria today is that access to good quality education is dependent on the economic status of one's family. And that was what Dr. Oby Ezekwesili decided to correct. She said enough is enough. Many people stand by the wayside and they're easy to say, oh yes, she shouldn't have gone into politics. You know how politics, enough Nigerians. We must stop the attitude where we shame good people away from politics. Our political class must be inhabited by the good people of Nigeria. We must ensure that happens. This is a fight that we must fix. She said it even on the day she accepted to run, that she hates politics. She still hates politics. The kind of politics that will make people forget their values. The kind of politics that will make people forget their integrity. The kind of politics that will make people forget the reason why they ran in the first place and make it all about themselves. But she went in there, and I am proud as I stand here to say that her values were not found wanting. When you leave your words, it's not by saying it, it's by living it. She would always say she would never negotiate her values, and she lived it. And one quote I will always take away from her is where she would say, integrity is not complete until it is consistent. And we saw it live and direct in Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. Some people have integrity in one part, and they don't have it in another. She said, no. We have always said in this country we don't have leaders. The problem that we have is a problem of leadership. Today we have a leader. She's the best candidate that has ever run for the presidential ticket in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I say that without mincing words. And she brought her credentials. She brought her integrity. She brought her values. And she refused to negotiate them. When it mattered the most, when the yearnings of the people, that they needed a coalition, a coalition, a coalition. She's decided to sacrifice her own personal ambition. It wasn't a personal ambition anyway. It was always for one thing. There are too many poor people in this nation. When we talk about poverty, many do not even realize what poverty is. Poverty is not romantic. Poverty is a bastard. It's a vicious one. When you stay at home, you have children, and you have no food to give to your children. and you have a bowl of pap, and that bowl of pap, you keep pouring water into it. Whenever the kids come crying, you keep giving them. The same bowl of pap, you keep pouring water over and over again from morning till night and keep giving the children. That is poverty, and it's not romantic. A lot of our leaders, when they're going for political office, they try to romanticize poverty. It's not. It's evil. When your child is sick and you need to go to the hospital and all you have is 100 naira and you cannot even afford to carry that child to the hospital and you have to make that painful decision of leaving your child at home and watching that child die, that is poverty. And there's nothing romantic about it. We went through the streets of Nigeria. We went through the market. We saw women who were tired. You know why? When there's extreme poverty, when people lose their job, especially men lose their job, the burden of taking care of the family lies on the woman. She can never leave her children and go away. She can't go outside and buy food for 100 naira and eat it alone because she knows she has children at home. We met every one of them in the market, and they kept saying the same thing. The poverty is too much. We cannot feed. It's hard to feed. Even those in the market were the lucky ones. There were some who had nothing. They are the ones that this is all about. They are the ones that every one of us must stand up and fight for. They are the ones that whatever it is of standing on that pedestal of saying that feeling too good about yourself, politics is meant for a certain group of people. I cannot find myself there. Drop it. As long as we don't fix our politics, we cannot get good governance. You have people who will trade their values in politics, then they won't give you good governance. So we must ensure that we begin to do the right thing. Imagine that little boy who begged us that he wanted to go to school. He was very articulate. At one time, he spoke in Hausa, I had to translate. And when we asked him again, he said, I've said it all. I want to be in school. And there is nothing else I want to say. And I say to you, if we do nothing about that little boy, he's going to be recruited by something worse than Boko Haram if we do not take care. What we have now will be a child's play. Our children that we spend millions of nairas on, we spend thousands of dollars on, will not have the peace to live their lives in peace. So it affects us all. We all have to be selfish about this. We all have to selfishly ensure that every child in Nigeria is in school. We have to be selfish about the fact that every family in Nigeria will be able to afford the basic things in life. We must ensure that 80 million people are lifted out of poverty. The poverty, it's real, it's destitution, it's extreme poverty. People are dying out of it, and it's no longer time to stay by the sidelines. Every day, things happen in this nation. We think it's none of our business. Nigeria will get at you whether you are rich, whether you live abroad. The day you step into this country, the day that you will not be the victim, it will get at you. We are good at saying, God forbid. Those who became victims, they pray the way we do. Yesterday's victims were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors. And tomorrow's victims will be today's survivors. Today's survivors, you and I. Because I tell you, those who have died before will not die again. The rest to die are amongst you and I who are alive today. When it happens and we think it's none of our business, sooner or later it becomes. A young man on Twitter, we attack and attack and attack those who were asking the government to be accountable. When the attack in Sokoto happened, his father was killed. His father is a village head in one of the districts in Sokoto. On that day, his father became a victim. He realized what other people had been going through, and that asking government to be accountable was not attacking government. It was just saying to them that you needed to do what has to be done. If we look away, it's only a matter of time. And so today I say to you, the education that we all have, the wealth that we have, it's not for us alone. It's for millions out there who never had the opportunity to be educated. There are so many people who would have loved to be in the position that we are in today. We are no better than them that our parents did all they could to send us to school. We are no better than them that we had a Nigeria that worked. This nation had a nation that was on this path to greatness until some people decided to truncate it. My father would tell me all the stories about university days and all the things that they had. What will I tell my child? ASU strikes? Yeah. And the fact that today we have turned ASU strike to a normal thing in this nation is an anomaly in itself. So there are strikes, students are at home, and you say to them, oh, yours is just 6 months. We spent a year at home. How does that work? We must break the shackle of incompetence in this nation. We must break the shackles of ineptitude in this nation. We must break that shackle that has held us down. It is not for us to abdicate our responsibilities to God. God will not do for us what he has given us the power to do for ourselves. He would not. So when we sit down at home, we are praying and casting and binding. We are the enemies of Nigeria. We are. By keeping quiet, by being silent when issues happen. What did Martin Luther King say? He said, well, it's not the words of our enemies that we'll remember, but the silence of our friends. One of the greatest lessons I learned on this journey, for everywhere we went to, there were people who came up to Dr. Oby Ezekwesili and said to her, thank you for standing for us. I never knew so many people appreciated it. Because most of the time what we hear are the attacks. And I realized for the first time that the good people are always silent. They are silent. While the bad people of this nation are loud. And every time they do not give up. And they came individually to say thank you. It was either thank you for Chibok, thank you for Dapchi, thank you for your role as Minister of Education, thank you for what you did in Mines, thank you for what you did in due process. My first time in the East was with Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. I remember sitting down in an, it's not Obana, they call it Igwe's Palace. And he would talk about how due process affected his life. How he did contract in this country where he got his money paid without knowing anybody and giving anybody a single kobo. That is the effect of when you do something that is good. I was sitting in Kaduna and meet an old man who can't even speak English, who is not very literate, talk about the cadastre in the mining sector. How she gave away her powers as a minister, and what she did, and how many mine rights license he had. That's the effect of, when you do good. I saw people who came out to say that, oh, she's not from the north, she's not a Muslim, but she took the Chibok girls issue and made it her own. She was called all sorts of names by people who felt that the children of the poor should be left behind, should be forgotten just because they are children of the poor. If Chibok girls were famous surnames, Nigerians would have been out on the streets. They would have been out, would have been united, because children of who is who were taken. But because they are children of the poor, and in this country, when you're poor, you're faceless, you're nameless, you're voiceless. They decided, how dare you give them your voice when we would have considered this as collateral damage. She said, no, they are children. We might not have carried them in our wombs, but we carry them in our hearts, and they will forever be our children. Today, the campaign funds, people are coming at her to say that she took money from people. How dare they? How much was donated? The same person who stood and said BBOG would not collect a dime. I'm a market woman, and I love money. You know how to date sell out for market now. Anywhere where money there, our eye they shine. When BBOG started, I was among those in the resource team. And we had worked on what we would need money for, how we would go about it. I was amongst that thing. But she stood single-handedly, even against her own peers, and she said, no, we will put our money where our empathy is. People were ready to donate to the Bring Back Our Girls cause, both nationally, internationally. I remember the governor of Borno brought in money, and it was rejected in 2014. If we wanted to make millions of dollars, we would have made it in BBOG. But she took a stand and said, no, we will not collect a dime. And almost 5 years later, I look up and say, wow, that's the reason why BBOG is still standing up to today. That's the reason why we will hold our heads high up. Anywhere we will make demand from any government. Because we say the movement is administration neutral. Because we took a stand. And today, people will say she wants to be part of it. She will tell you. She wasn't even a signatory. Not like those who decided to be sole signatory and kept the money. She will give accounts of that. She never did. Because for her, everything is about values. It's about integrity. It's about accountability. It's about due process. When we had issues with our campaign generation, money generation, some people will go to pay, they will see that her campaign account was attached to a group, an organization, Women Without Walls. They always will come back to say, no, is she the one? Is it Dr. Oby's campaign? Or is it something that, you know, when Nigerians, the first way they think about 419 now. I went to her and I said to her, Dr. Oby, we can solve this. All you need to do, attach your own, let's attach Dr. Oby for president campaign under your personal account. And she said, no, Aisha. For those who know Dr. Oby, not when she wants to do her own thing. Aisha, no. She didn't want to hear a word of that. She was interested in money. That's the first thing she would have done. She would have made herself a sole signatory, because we've seen it being done in this country before. She didn't. She refused to even have it attached to her name. I myself was the one who went to her. And as soon as I did that, she just said, no. It was the end of it. And today we come out to say what we say, because she's there to stand. But you know what? It's okay. She has always said in her life, she don't do work, she don't do jobs, she don't do appointment, she does assignment. And so she gets that word from God, that this is what needs to be done. It's not the words that you get. You know, everybody says they get the word from God. You get the one that is acted. That's the one I'm talking about now. She was ready to go on with this. And today we stand here, not because it's over, but because Nigeria comes first. That's why we're doing this today. And we've always asked for exemplary leadership in Nigeria. And I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, I'm 45 years old. For the first time in Nigeria, I have seen what exemplary leadership is all about. Somebody who stood and listened to the yearnings of the people. The people were yearning for a coalition. They were angry. And I saw the anger from Nigeria, and the anger was justified. We have so many other candidates who are good. Why are you not coming together to put one person forward so that we can fight this very well? When it wasn't coming true, she said, you know what? I will do this. And she did it. She sacrificed and said, for the nation, Nigeria first. So ladies and gentlemen, before I go away from here, I want us all to remember that it is not a crime to fight for Nigeria. It is not a crime to be incorruptible. It is not a crime to do the right thing always. The price that Nigeria asks you to pay for every time you do the right thing is not fair. This is a nation where I saw people who were angry at Dr. Oby. I remember the day I flipped at some women who came for our rally and they decided that they must be paid. We said, no, we are not paying you. They said, this is how they do their job. We said, this is not a job. One of the things they said, we will go to media, we say, please go. We are not ashamed to say that Dr. Oby Ezekwesili did not loot money in this nation. They were angry. And they say to us, how can she be a minister and say she doesn't have money? I saw Nigerians out there who had made corruption to be a normal way of life, being angry at Dr. Oby because she was a minister. She had worked in government for 6.5 years, and yet she didn't loot billions. Somebody who had the opportunity to loot money when it was the romantic thing to do, it was normal to do, and refused to touch a dime of this nation. It's not the person that would take the 1 naira that people on the streets gave. Some people have come out today to begin to talk. We heard your silence when we needed your voice. Those Nigerians that Nigeria gave them everything decided to abandon Nigeria when it needed them the most. Those leaders who got the best of Nigeria, you know what? The history books will judge you. The conscience all will judge us. Because at the end of the day, it is that little boy who is asking for education, that little boy who is crying, that little girl who hasn't seen food to eat, that little girl that will be married away at the age of 11. She's the reason why we did this. The little child that will be born into Nigeria today, and the mom do not even have anything other than rag to wrap that child in, and there is no future in Nigeria for that child. That's the child we are fighting for. And this fight, we just started it. We are not going anywhere because, like I said earlier, Nigeria is worth fighting for, and we will fight for Nigeria. We must have a nation where no Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigeria. And it just started. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Already in the afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Inyoluwa, and for those of you who have probably been following the recent trend of events, I'm also known as Maureen, apparently. But my name is Inyoluwa Boyeji, more seriously speaking, and I served on the campaign with Madam Oby Ezekwesili as the Deputy Director General of the campaign. I worked closely with the party and with multiple other stakeholders to ensure the success of the campaign. One question I imagine people may be asking right now is, who was the Director General of the campaign? And ironically enough, he was one of the 4 people who signed that unfortunate press release, which we'll be partly responding to today. So what I wanted to say as another joke, because I kind of find a lot of comedy in all of this, is that any good thing you see today was my work, any bad thing you see today was his work. His name is Ibrahim Goroyo, so you can tell him I said that. We're going to quickly go through the presentation. It's not going to be a very long presentation. The first thing I want to just tell you is we're extremely transparent as a campaign. Anybody that has worked with or for Madam Oby Ezekwesili, who I fondly call Madam President, will know how difficult it is to meet her standards of transparency. So What I can assure you is every single detail, not just only because the people in this room are so many and are probably blocked by the cameras, we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to interrogate the figures that we're putting up. So everything will be on the website. So if you want to find out more about every detail of what was spent or what was done for the campaign, you will find it on oby2019.com. But what I will present here is a very brief summary, which will be non-exhaustive, just for the purposes of this gathering, so that we can move on to the other parts of the program, and then everything else we will capture on the website. So next slide, please. The first is, I'm sure what everybody is looking for, which is the finances. We started this campaign, and I don't think many people quite appreciate that, but we started this campaign with $0 in our pockets. We don't have any sitting governor that has security votes. Our candidate did not steal money from the Federal Treasury. We don't have any big money lord anywhere who has been using Nigeria's money to perpetuate their oppression on the people. So this was a true citizens campaign. And it's a reflection of that in our finances. We received donations from ordinary Nigerians to the tune of 15 million. Those donations came in all sizes, which you will see in what's going to be put on the website. People giving as little as 500 naira, people giving as little as 1,000 naira, people giving up to 500,000 naira. Not many, but a few. And it just goes to show you how much of this was simply driven by committed citizens who wanted to do the right thing for Nigeria. We also received donations into our GTB account. We received donations into our GTB DOM account from Nigerians. We received donations in our Zenith Bank account, received donations from platforms like Flutterwave and Paystack and so on, and GoFundMe. But I think one thing that is helpful to highlight here is when you see personal donation, that is the donation that was made by the candidate and her family. So as you can see from this, that was 27.8 million naira that the candidate and her family spent on this campaign. This is somebody who has not stolen. This is somebody who has not gone and packed state money. So in that respect, this was basically us giving our widow's mite to Nigeria. And you can see it did comprise the majority of what we ended up spending. Then I'll go down to the expenditure, which is also important. In our expenditure, what you can see here, we spent quite a bit in terms of personnel because we had to have staff on the campaign. We also spent a bit in campaign team expenses, a lot of media and publicity, which is reflected in the amount of press that we generated over the course of this campaign. We had over, and I'll get to that, but we went to over 100 campaign events over the course of the last 3 months, which means that we were in a campaign event every single day, including Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes we were in campaign events back to back the whole day. Then we spent quite a bit on campaign mobilization, meeting and logistics costs. Campaign mobilization, meeting and logistics costs, a lot of which actually, interestingly enough, was paid to the party. So we actually worked very closely with the party and gave the party some resources. And I think that would also be addressed, some of the touch points there where there was lack of accountability on that arm of the partnership, and that created problems for us. And then we spent quite a bit on supplies. Now, all in all, we raised about 48.9 million in total, and we ended up spending about 45.7 million on the campaign with some balance, which we have also reflected here. Next slide, please. I wanted to talk a little bit about the accountability structure of the campaign, because I think it's important for people to know, as the previous speaker here mentioned, that we didn't, there was no involvement of the candidate herself when it came to the financing of the campaign, perhaps except giving her own money to the campaign. A lot of this is in the flow charts. The campaign directorate was directly responsible for any disbursements of funds. And those, because of INEC regulation, we have complete receipts and audit trail of every single dollar or naira that went out. And we have it ready and available for INEC. We'll also make it available on the website as well. In terms of the flow chart, from the start, typically a requisition will come from a campaign staffer, and then that requisition will then be verified by an admin manager, and then the campaign director has to approve every single payment. And then the director of finance as well would have to also approve that payment before a final approval is made and funds are released for whatever it is. And then we also have to retire those funds with appropriate documentation, whether it's invoice and so on and so forth. So that's just to show you the level of financial control that was put in place to ensure that the campaign was campaign finances, because we consider this the money of Nigerians. Even if we donated it, it's still Nigerians' money because it was used to prosecute something in their best interest. So that was how it was managed. Next slide. We recorded over 100 public engagement events. We had a lot of TV interviews, a lot of radio interviews. We had our Walk for Nigeria, where we went into the markets and into the streets, talking to people about the new Nigeria and why they should vote for the candidacy of Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. We did market storms, where we went into the marketplaces and engaged people in the marketplaces about the candidacy of Madam Oby Ezekwesili. We also had a lot of community engagement events, where we actually went directly into communities and held town halls with them, engaging them out. One of the more interesting things about the way we did it in our campaign was that we didn't do it in a way where we bring people to the stadium. It was organic. We actually related well with people. And then in so doing, and in relating well with people, we're able to even get them to ask us questions about the manifesto, about the different issue-based conversations that we wanted to have with the people. So we had a number of those, and then we also had a number of speaking events. On the website, when we upload all the pictures to the website, we're actually going to tag each event and each location. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it here, so that way you actually have a fair sense. And just to give you another sense, the website is going to be an archive of the campaign. We're not going to take it down. So at any point in time, it will be on the record what we did in this campaign, so that everybody will have it for the history books, and we will know that our stand for Nigeria was recorded for posterity. Next slide. Here are some of the pictures. I just picked a couple of the pictures where we had speaking events, community engagements with many people. We have hundreds and thousands of these pictures and videos. And then that is the final presentation. Next slide, final slide. But before I go, we had a short 2-minute video that we thought would encompass a lot of what's... Wilson, I don't know if you can put that up. So we'll just about 1 minute, 44-second video that will just kind of give you a reel of the campaign and, from our eyes, and give you a sense of how we evolved as the campaign went on. Wilson, please. We're good? Okay. Sorry, it seems like there's a small, but we'll get through it very quickly. It's worth the wait, I promise you. Okay, great. So please enjoy. Thank you. Wilson. Yeah, please, if you can sit down, if the cameraman can sit down so the crowd who's here can see, I would appreciate it.
I want it to be on record that the government of President, he said he was in charge of the operation to stop us. And then we called him to take our message to the president, and he refused. He willfully refused. I will not go back. We have decided that because he refused to take the message, we will deliver ourselves.
Former Minister of Education and co-convener of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign is on a solo protest march to the Gola to protesting the certain.
I want it to be on record that the government of President Muhammadu Buhari has infringed the Constitution by violating my fundamental right to freedom of movement and association.
Has the structure that we have delivered the optimal level of governance progress that we should have? I hope to disrupt the politics of failure, the politics of bad governance and bad leadership.
All right, we'll have to interrupt that to bring you this breaking news. We understand that Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. Dr. Oby Ezekwesili.
Take women now. Women will begin the climb up.
Oby Ezekwesili.
What's the make of, this move?
Not getting closer and closer. It's interesting that she first of all withdraw from the race at this time, and definitely withdraw because you want to create a coalition, right? Essentially, I think that's the key word going on. That there is a need, according to her and a whole bunch of other people in the Republican side, there is a need to challenge this whole dichotomy between these two political parties.
Good afternoon once again. Dr. Oby Ezekwesili will be coming up for the reason why we're here. But before she does that, may I please crave the indulgence of the gentlemen and women of the press to please make room towards this angle so that the people in this room can actually get to see her. We will take like two minutes to do that. Can we just please move so that we can have people in here to see her? Thank you. Okay, so can we have more people move this way, please? Can we have people move this way? There is no way we can proceed until we have this sorted. So I want to crave on your understanding. People are in this room to actually listen to her. We would not be doing them any good by blocking their view. Say that again.
Good afternoon, everyone. When I was told that I was going to do this, anyway, my friends would always laugh at me that anytime I say I really don't know what to say, I end up speaking too much. So I would not say I don't know what to say. Let me say I know what to say, so I won't take much of your time. We are gathered here because of the woman called Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, whose mother calls Geli, or Geli. My first encounter with Dr. Oby was when she was the keynote speaker of an event that APC put together when they merged with CPC at the Hilton, where she gave a speech titled The Uncomfortable Truth. On that day, I looked forward to meeting with her, but I never got the chance to meet her. I actually attended that event just because she was going to be there. I never got the chance to meet her until May 6th or May 7th, I think, 2014, after the Chibok girls' abduction. And I went to the Unity Fountain, sorry, not the Unity Fountain, Maitama Gardens. The World Economic Forum was happening in Nigeria, and the then government of ex-President Goodluck Jonathan had banned the group from the use of Unity Fountain. And the Bring Back Our Girls members had to meet at Maitama Garden. My first encounter ever with her was on that day. And I never looked back after I had the chance of meeting with Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. Before I introduce Dr. Oby, I would just like to say a few things. Nelson Mandela once said, "May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears." He also said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." Muhammad Ali once said, "He who is not courageous enough to take risk will accomplish nothing in life." Then yesterday, I came across a video that a woman I also admire so much put out on Instagram, Serena Williams. And it was as if she was speaking to me on what to say today. And she had this to say: "The world tells you to wait, that waiting is polite, and that good things will come to you. But if I waited to be invited in, I never would have stood out. If I waited for change to happen, I never would have made a difference. So I tell you today, make the first move. Don't wait to be told your place. Take it. Most importantly, don't wait to be given power. Here is what they won't tell you. You already have it." They told Dr. Oby Ezekwesili, "Why is she out to contest? Who is she?" I saw that class that they call the ruling class, or whatever they have termed themselves, get angry that she stepped into the ring. I saw children who do not know what portends the danger that portends the future come out and ask questions. There is nothing the system hates like when it sees someone they do not consider a part of the establishment coming to where they believe is meant for them. Today, I throw a challenge to all of us. That space belongs to each and every one of us. I am a child of nobody. That is what Nigeria has termed for people like us. So they get angry when they see children that they say of nobodies come into a space that they believe is meant for them. As Serena Williams said, you already have the power. Take it. Thank you, Dr. Oby. You said you were coming in to disrupt the space, and you indeed disrupted that space. That little blind girl in Kaduna that told you that she would dare her to become the president of Nigeria someday, we will be alive to see her become the first blind woman president in this country. So help us God. Nigeria is all ours. People challenged you. Why? I saw people who you knew, good friends, abandon you. I saw people who didn't even want to say anything about your candidacy. But that made me proud, because like I said on the journey to build Nigeria, you know who is with you and who isn't. And this journey for me was very, very instructive on that. As Africans, we were taught not to dream big. Left to my mother, I should probably have been married now with 10 children to one man on Okada in Kaduna and a civil servant. That's the kind of dream they wish for us. Because we're not taught even in our schools. How dare you dream big? Who are you? The system abhors excellence. There is no standard. The system loves and thrives on mediocrity. So when you try to stand out, they tell you, who are you? Look at the likes of people that we celebrate today in this country. What a shame. What a shame. We all should be ashamed and not be proud to be called Nigerians because of the kind of representatives that we have across every level. Even those we thought were men of goodwill have turned out to be what we can't explain today. Madiba once said, sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that generation. I hope that this generation will be that generation that would indeed turn out to be great. They told Dr. Oby Ezekwesili that it was too late for her to join the race. For those who said that, I always remind them the words of Martin Luther King, who says it is never too late because the time is always right to do what is right. And Aisha Yesufu once said, the present president that took how many years? Running for office. Now that he's in office, what has he offered to Nigerians? So what does it matter whether you went into the race 3 months before the elections, 1 week before the election, or 20 years before the election? Will it have mattered? Will it have mattered? We have someone who took 12 years. And what do we have today? I leave you to answer that. And I tell those who also challenged her. Henry Ford once said, for those who say it can't be done, Bernard Shaw, don't interrupt those who are doing it. If you can't dream, please, when I dream, don't step into my dreams. Henry Ford also says, whenever you think you can, whether you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. And I tell Nigerians today, you will live to see us fulfill this dream. Inshallah, insha Jesus. Nelson Mandela also says, I never lose. I either win or I learn. This has been a learning process for us. Even for Dr. Oby, for people who know her have come to say, oh yes, we believe she must have learned the vital lessons that we are going to take on this journey. And as my sister Aisha has told you, we are not going anywhere. We're in it to win it, either today or tomorrow. Inshallah, insha Jesus. Today we watch a young man, Ian, give us a breakdown of what came into this campaign. I saw people who were writing, oh, they got hundreds of millions of naira. You know, if not that it would be a waste of our time, we would have taken such people to court. Everybody that has defamed the name of Dr. Oby Ezekwesili on this journey. But it would be a waste of our time and a waste of resources because there's Nigeria and a bigger fish to fry. So we will focus on that. When we're chasing elephants, we don't focus on rats. On this journey, we met people who said they had no intention of voting. Personal encounters with people that moved me. And reason why I said we're not going away. For me, I choose to stay back to fight on, side by side my work. A woman who came to Nyanya Market and said she saw people sharing posters around. And she looked at the face on one of the posters. It was Dr. Oby Ezekwesili's face. And she said, what's happening? Is this woman here? They said yes. And she ran to where we were. And she said she wasn't going to come out on election day because she had no candidate. But now she has a reason to come out and vote. We met so many people like that. We met people who were shouting, say Baba, and I would tell them, Kana say Baba, ina say Mama. Yau ranan kasuwa ce. It's like a market square. You bring your goods, I bring my goods. And there are buyers who come to the market for a purpose. If I'm selling pineapples, you're selling oranges. If a customer comes and he doesn't want to buy my oranges and wants to buy your pineapples, good and fine. Pull back the sword. No be war. I'm here to sell my candidate. When I leave the market, you can come back with your own candidates and sell. So it's not a war space. We must sanitize this space. I will be rounding up very soon with these words. Before I go on with my last words, I want to challenge also the two dominant political parties, the Siamese twin, as Dr. Oby has tagged them. I challenge them as we have also put out our records. I hope they do same. And for the one who also collected money in 2014 in his personal account, I hope he does same also, to tell Nigerians what he has received and how he spent the money. I watched Dr. Usman Bugaje in my last words at a book launch by Dr. Anwalu Awal. The title of the book was Politics as Dashed Hopes in Nigeria. Yeah, people said Dr. Oby was a novice in politics. They could get that right somewhere, but not all. And he had this to say: we must change the recruitment mechanisms in our political parties. That is where the danger lies. It is very faulty bringing in the wrong type of people who are stuck in the ways of the old, whose minds are preoccupied with primitive accumulation of wealth. Our leadership recruitment mechanism is truly faulty, extremely faulty. It has been calibrated not to bring the best, but too often the worst. It is important we go back to prioritizing competence. Madam Oby Ezekwesili, I would add, it is not just only to bring back competence, but to bring back compassion and most importantly, courage. What a lot of people lacked on this journey. So many people pulled out when you reached out to them. They were afraid. They told you the government will come after them. They told you their businesses will be taken from them. They told you that they would wish that they were with you. But because they have to survive, they cannot come out and identify with you. I cried. This cannot be the country that we live in, where citizens cannot be allowed to make their choices freely. Why? You suffered that on this journey. People lacked courage. And I'm like, what the hell is going on in this country? Nigerians, I call on you today. Your destiny is in your hands. We are going to fix this nation, whether they like it or not. The train has left the station. A woman of courage who dared to step in, of character, of competence, of compassion. A woman who speaks truth to power. A woman who never backs down. A woman who stepped out, walked alone on the street to fight for the people who have no one fighting for them. A woman who they call the conscience of the nation. A woman whom the world, when they hear your name, one of the proudest things that comes out from this nation is you. Whether the enemies or the friends like it or not. Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. Dr. Oby Ezekwesili. That name stands out. The look stands out. Even people in the village see you, they recognize you. Today, we recognize you for daring. Thank you for bringing us on this journey. Thank you So today I invite on stage that no other woman of character, of competence, of capacity, of courage, who steps on toes, and when she steps on toes, she doesn't look back. On this campaign, you had no security. You walked alone. You were not afraid. Thank you. I am proud that I lived in a nation that has no people to look up to, but we have you to look up to. And for my fellow women, I tell you, this battle is ours. Patriarchy exists in this country. She suffered that. I tell you, if we dare, as Henry Ford says, if we say we can, we can. It is ours to take on. Let's not think less of ourselves. Thank you, Madam President. I give you the podium.
Whoa. Oh my God. You know, the best thing that ever happened to my life was to get to know these fierce young women. I mean, please help me to clap for them. Help me to acknowledge Aisha, Florence, MLK herself, Maureen. We call her Maureen Luther King. Oh, what a day. Oh my goodness, what a turnout. Yes.
Pardon me to interrupt protocol. Sorry, Madam President. Gentlemen of the press, would you kindly step back as we agreed? Yes. She's starting now. No, she's starting now. You don't know when she starts. I know, she has started.
You know, you made a promise, so that's why she's trying to remind you. Are we good? Yeah. Good to go? Excellent. I am in fact very appreciative of my campaign team for putting together this World Press Conference today. And I want to thank everyone who has spoken so far for the very touching remarks that have been made. I want to especially thank Iyi for the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, the title of my statement is A Sacrifice for Our New Political Order. A sacrifice for our new political order. It has been an interesting 1 week since I made the tough but necessary decision to suspend my campaign for the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I have been truly overwhelmed by the reactions to my announcement from Nigerians. Even in airports outside the country, as I traveled last week, Nigerians walked up to me with questions, concerns, encouragement, and motivation. I also saw disappointment, yes, heartbreaking disappointment, by some who had poured their hearts and hopes into actualizing our mission to fight for Niger, bring back hope to our land, and lift 80 million fellow citizens out of extreme poverty. I ask for their forgiveness and understanding. I ask them to be ready to forgive me for withdrawing from the race, but I know that they agree with my choice because it is an expression of my values trumping any other thing. I am thankful to all who traveled on this journey with me, who attended our campaign events, who volunteered for the movement, who spread the word, and sometimes argued with friends and colleagues, who contributed and who invested their time and money online, offline. I want to thank the young people especially who accepted and owned our campaign. To the women, my sisters and comrades who walked with me all the way. Those who believed, those who were supporters from different ethnic groups, from every kind of background in the country. Your sacrifice continued to humble me, and they actually inspire me so much. I will never forget. I cannot forget. I cannot forget. There are, as you know, falsehoods and lies that have been spread. I am sure that you have followed the allegations since my announcement of withdrawal from the presidential race. My motives have been questioned, with various versions of falsehood being spread. I want you all, my fellow Nigerians, to know that these allegations are alien to my character and my pedigree. The lies that were perpetrated were deliberately meant to be hostile attack on my stance against bad politics and governance. Let me reiterate that the Citizens First campaign that we ran was a serious campaign for which I wholeheartedly committed myself. Millions of our citizens who followed our campaign on multiple platforms across the country can attest to the fact that we had a promising campaign uniquely designed to be disruptive. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we decentralized the campaign as a matter of strategy.